G'day there and welcome to part 4 in the series Utopian Realism. And in this video we're going to be looking at the transition of public property and services to the private. That's what I'm discussing. How public property and services does not exist in utopian realism, how that's a very bad idea. Going to be diving a little bit deeper into the concept of the public, sharing how that's a misnomer, and how essentially privatization, capitalism, as explained in the earlier videos, is the answer to practically all of the world's problems. Public property and services aren't what you think. The public is a private business posing as a government for the interests of those who control it. And all a government is a private business in the business of controlling and exploiting people. Governments don't and cannot provide anything of value. All they do is take, via force, and issue commands that serve the ruling class. Anything useful which you think may come from government can be better achieved without the existence of a violent ruling class. Because in truth, as most of you probably already know, some of you may not, that's all a government is and ever can be. It's an impossibility for a government to not be a violent ruling class. If there's a group of people peacefully cooperating for the betterment of everyone in society and they're not a violent ruling class, well then it's not government. It's a normal, healthy, rational society. I can't even say normal because in the history of humanity we've never had a healthy, rational society, a civilized civilization. That's why this is a necessity for the world. The idea that law and order must be achieved via the violation of law and order is a nonsensical, incoherent contradiction. We need law and order. Now let's steal from everyone, and if they don't want to be stolen from, let's beat them up, let's kill them, or let's torture them and lock them in a cage. And we'll take all their money, and then we'll arm all these psychopathic automatons, and we'll enforce law and order. Yes, that's how we have law and order with government. It's actual hypnotic madness. It just shows a state of mass hypnosis because no one in their right mind can possibly think that's a good idea. It's just so blatantly obvious. It's a contradiction. Many people mistakenly believe that public property means their property because they identify as a member of the public. But if the government locks a national park, beach or public library, how much say do you have over the matter? None at all. Zero. Because it's not your land and it's not your property. It's the government's. And the government belongs to those in the shadows who control it. Evil men have mastered the game of power and art of manipulation over the millennia, and government is simply their latest and greatest strategy to enslave the ignorant, hypnotized masses. What would true public property or land actually look like? Well, take a beach, a forest, a park, a building that wasn't owned, controlled, or managed by anyone in particular, but everyone in general, and was open access to everyone indiscriminately, all the time, always. That's what real public property how that would have to function. And the closest we actually have to public property would be international waters. And still you're going to have countries fighting over that. So there's no actual public property. It's not real. It's a misnomer. It's the wrong use of the word, as I go on to say right now. The term the public, when used by government, is a misnomer. I love the use of that word. In reality, it denotes private ownership by a small group who allow open access at their discretion. Right? There's a difference between open access and public and... Hold on, I'll explain further. The government/state, they own and control all things public. You, the people, have got nothing to do with it. People think because they identify as a member of the public, which is a very dangerous, silly, naive thing to do, right, which I'm guilty of in the past. I don't do that kind of nonsensical slave mentality kind of thing anymore, a member of the public. When did you sign up and become a member of the public? You're just subjecting yourself to the arbitrary whims of a psychopathic group of... I could go on for and use a lot of obscene but very accurate true words to describe those people. But in a way, I feel sorry for them because they've been born into it. It's not fully their fault. There's, as I was saying in the previous video about the law, they're not healthy and they're not mentally stable. People who commit crimes are not mentally healthy and not mentally stable. So the term public is valid when used in appropriate contexts, such as when publishing a video on YouTube publicly, for free and for all to see. Remember this, because it rhymes, so it's easy to remember. If it's not free and for all to see, it's not public. So think about that. With everything the government calls public, you have to pay for all of it, and it's not for everyone because they can block off and restrict access to whoever they want. The government functionally acts as a business because you always pay to interact with their public departments that offer goods and services. They don't offer anything for free. They can't. An unforgivable problem with government is that it forces its business upon you. First, they hold you at gunpoint and extract your wealth via taxes. Then, they demand non-consensual trade. Without their licenses or permissions, you face punishment, leading most to comply out of fear, terror, really, because that's what a government is. It's a terrorist organization. Literally. That's the only way it can operate, is by instilling fear to the point of literal terror. When most people think about not driving with registration plates or a license, they literally cannot. They would shit themselves physically before they even considered doing that because they're terrorized by these violent, physically initiative, monopolized dystopian gangsters. Oh, I like stringing all those words together. It's all true, it's all accurate. These government interactions, like car registration, building permits, and passports, they always come with costs. You have no choice but to relinquish what you've earned for their goods and services because they've forcefully excluded all other competition. With government, if you don't like the police because they're brutal, act arbitrarily, and cause more crime than prevent, too bad. Oh, well, the police are causing 99% of the crime, literally in every single country in the world. Oh, too bad. They've got the monopoly on it. There's nothing we can do. And everyone, the ignorant, foolish masses have been hypnotized in some kind of magic spell to believe that's good. Yes, 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 the police committing all the crime. Yes, that means we are living in a just and orderly civil society. So sad. Too bad, because you can't complain about it. If you find the courts inequitable, incompetent, and unjust, well, tough luck. The difference is, in a free society, you have choice of goods and services. That's what utopian realism is all about. Capitalism is choice, and it breeds excellence, as it's the nature of competition to do that. Government has a monopoly on land, waters, law, rulemaking, money, police and security, military, courts, licensing, registration, education, and roads. And in some countries, they also may have a monopoly on other services such as electricity, water, and health, plus other things I can't even think of right now. They monopolize these markets by prohibiting entry with the threat or initiation of physical force, or by dictating the terms of private operation, which is again just physical force. Who really owns your land if you're forced to pay taxes to live on your property? It's not yours then. Want to create your own private schools and curriculum? Well, not possible with government. You must conform to their legislation. How about an alternative currency not bound by external influence? Well, it's also not possible. The government demands compliance with their subjective policies. Monopolies always lower customer service, efficiency, quality, and increase prices. Capitalism and competition always leads to better customer service, higher efficiency, higher quality, and cheaper prices. Without competition, there's no reason to do a good job. There's no reason. The government monopoly is the pinnacle of deception. Just as a wife beater convinces his woman, or his victim, that she needs him, the government has convinced the masses that they need to be robbed and dominated to the minute detail. The simple solution to monopolies and violent gangs extorting innocent people is privatization. In utopian realism, there is no public property or services. This is because there are no monopolies, because no one has a perceived legitimate right to initiate physical force. It's so simple. It really is so simple. It's an unnecessary evil to have a centralized regulatory oversight dictate operational standards for every single market and business. It's not only tyrannical, but inefficient and impractical. All that's required for peaceful and orderly cooperation in utopian realism is freedom governed by objective law. The individual is sovereign and acts like it. The solution to government monopolization is to have all public property, land, real estate, and services sold at auctions. And the services are essentially just businesses. So sell them all to the private sector at auction. Let people like me and you and your neighbor and everyone else buy them at auction. That's what would happen in utopian realism. And to buy this property, you would need to use the freedom credit. And that's to help it gain massive traction and aid the transition to a better money for everyone. This is what I'd do if I was emperor of the world. Here we go, we're selling all public property, all public businesses, land, everything. It's going to the private. Privatize everything because that is better. It is good. Land that will be sold to the private includes national parks, state forests, beaches, parks, roads, nature strips, etc. It's like, for instance, I was walking down the street today and on the side of the road, it's a footpath. And in a lot of countries I go to outside of Australia, the footpaths are pretty crap. There's just holes in the ground where the tiles are gone. It's just literal holes. And if you're not looking, you could fall on that, you could break a leg. It's extremely dangerous. And no one's going to fix it. Who cares? It's public. It's the government. Why would they fix it? Yet in a private society, well, the owner of that road would need to maintain it. Otherwise, you could sue them. You can't have a big hole in your footpath and expect people to walk along it. This is dangerous. This is ridiculous. Someone else would buy it up. It's just idiotic. Idiotic. Property includes vehicles, equipment, weapons, and everything else which is currently state-owned. Real estate includes government and council buildings, train lines, bus stations, airports, fire stations, hospitals, schools. Services include paramedics, police, medical industry, transport, garbage, aged care, disability support. So everything that the public, the government, and the people behind them that are controlling the government and using the government just as a franchise of control, because really, that's all a government is. It's just a franchise system of control. Just like there's McDonald's, which is a franchise, and Starbucks. Government is just a monopolized franchise of the people behind the government who control every government in the world. When everything becomes privately owned and operated, the best businesses become the most successful. We know this already. It's obvious. The good outperforms the bad. Since there's no government intervention, underperforming businesses will go broke, which is good. They should. They really should. There's so many big businesses today that are only alive and pushing the centralized dystopian agenda. Just Tesla is one that pops to my head, or SpaceX, because they get so much funding from the government. So from theft, essentially. Only those businesses who provide value to their customers are able to prosper. In a capitalistic civilization, only the best teachers, schools, medical facilities, security forces, courts, etc. will stay in business, and that is very good. The free market is the best managerial and operational strategy a man could wish for. centralized dictatorship is no match for the efficiency of free competition. So that's the end of this video. On the page, I have quite a few playlists and videos that go into more depth explaining lots of stuff. Lots and stuff. So I highly recommend check that out. You'll have a lot of fun going through those videos. In the next video in the series about utopian realism, a civilization's model based upon reason, we are going to be looking at policies. So I think that will be quite a longer video, comparable to the video about law, because there are quite a few policies, even though each policy is quite short. There's lots here, like tax and subsidies, police and security, courts and law, education, hospitals, ambulances, medical, roads, transport, buses, trains, planes, garbage, charity, elderly, disabled, homelessness, insurance, water, electricity, gas, abortion, borders, religion, fire, internet, post and phone, beaches, park. Oh, that's almost done. Oh, drugs, intellectual property, foreign affairs, countries and nationality. So there's going to be a lot of juicy, good topics to discuss. You really should be getting fired up at this. What's more interesting than this type of topic? Things that have consequences. When you get them right, it makes the world utopian and worth living. You want to live in the world. And when you get these things wrong, it makes the world dystopian. And people are fighting to get out of here. We don't want that in the world. I know I don't want that. I'm not going to speak for you, but I know I don't want that in the world. If the world doesn't improve, what's the point of living in this world? There's no point. It needs to be fixed. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, and it needs a system to fix that. And I haven't seen anything which comes remotely close as a fully integrated system. There's nothing like this out there. If you find something like this out there, let me know, please. I mean, a full civilizations model. And this model is, of course, an integration of many different ideas of capitalism and anarchy and private law and voluntarism, which is essentially anarchy, and objective law and rights and justice and objective philosophy. It's all these great ideas from these narrowly intelligent specialists who are good at what they're good at, and I've integrated it as a generalist and put it into a complete whole, a civilizations model, utopian realism, presenting it to you. I hope you get excited and passionate about this, even if you have to go into your fantasy, your imagination a little bit and imagine just what it would be like living in this world, because that keeps me going on. The hope of a better world, because if you don't have hope like this, well, living in this world is very, very difficult. That's what I think anyway. The more intelligent you become, and I say become because intelligence is a choice. You choose to be intelligent. You choose to learn more and acquire more knowledge and to be able to use this thing up here better, more efficiently, more effectively. The more intelligent you become, the clearer you see the world, the more horrible everything becomes, because you see the evil in the world, but it's just everywhere. You walk down the street, you see evil everywhere. And it's nasty. I've spoken about this in more detail in my series about what actually is evil. 4 videos in that series. That's a good one too if you're interested in that. Though, if you want to be in a very happy, chirpy mood, maybe that's not the best one to watch. Save it for a rainy day. This is, yeah, a lot more high note because it's teaching all the solutions. There are answers. We have all the answers to every single one of society's woes. It's all right here. This system solves all of that, except for perhaps making people act in their own self-interest. That is still a very difficult challenge, to actually motivate people to do what's good for them. That's hard. To get people to overcome their own fear, to be courageous, to choose to be intelligent, to overcome their apathy, indifference, and laziness. To choose greatness and sovereignty over mediocrity and servitude. That, well, I can't say utopian realism fully answers that. Well, it does answer that. It's got the answers on how to do that, but to actually get people to do it themselves, that's something I'm still working on. And I'll probably be working on that for a lot longer than I worked on this. So I'll see you on the next video, where we'll be looking at a whole bunch of policies. All right, I'll see you then. Bye.